Once you believe that everything that happens is a consequence in one way or another to how things are placed right now, and whatever has happened is kind of dependent on how things were in the past, all the way to the Big Bang. And yes, there is quantum mechanical weirdness that allows for other possibilities to have a chance of occurrence, but the choices made there are inherently random. There is no purpose, because a purpose requires a choice. There is no choice. Then why should anybody care about existing? More importantly, why should anything exist at all? This is more of a philosophical question than a physics one, but one that is very much connected to the meaning of it all. The answer might be that there is no meaning. And that's kinda nice, isn't it? It all began some 14 billion years ago in an event that we don't fully understand. What followed was an evolution of a patch of space and time. The energy created particles, or what we call particles. Those particles then formed composite particles. So for instance, quarks formed composite quarks, or baryons. And then those interacted with electrons and then formed atoms and on and on. Because the universe happened to have this apparently very weak but cumulative interaction called gravity, the stuff formed coalesced to form structures. Galaxies to star systems, planets to people living in them. One of the ways of thinking about all of this is that the universe exists and we live in it. That the way the universe works might be certain, it may be dictated by the laws of physics to which the universe has to abide by, but we can make choices, we can make decisions. We are different. In the grand context of how actually things turned out to be the way they did, it doesn't seem right, does it? I mean, yes, the complexity of life has given rise to some things, us, that gives them the illusion that they are part of a bigger picture. But is there a bigger picture? There is this analogy that goes around physics circles that we are nothing but a bag of mindless particles. And yes, we are. All of life's weirdness comes from the intricate complexity of the particle interactions that make life. But fundamentally, it is how the universe works. The thing that allows this to happen? Emergence. To me, emergence has always been the answer to the illusion of choice, consciousness, thought. I mean, the way we feel, believe, and do things is in some way or another dictated by the complex particle interactions that happen inside of us. Something that evolved for billions of years to be how we see it today. History dictated our present existence, a history that was not life. However, how far we can take emergence before we have to say no? There is this view that maybe the complex interactions happening inside our head could lead to conscious thought, rational choices, real-world choices, free will. But then nowhere along the lines of the complex particle interactions could you ever choose one thing to happen over another. Is emergence strong enough to actually give rise to free will in an intrinsically no choice, first principle universe? Whatever it may be, the fact that the universe evolved structures and complexity is in itself a brilliant feat. Yes, there are entropic reasons, so if the universe would have been any other way, we wouldn't have been there to observe it. We could only observe a universe in which we do happen to form, like the one we are in. However, isn't thinking like this also kind of putting us in some kind of center stage? Imagine a universe very similar to ours, with people living in them, but ones that don't have even this illusion of there being an identity, consciousness, choice. Rather, they're like robots, indistinguishable to us from outside in all observable parameters, but don't have this thought going on inside of them. A philosophical zombie, as they are called. The universe, in all observable external parameters, looks the same. A universe that still exists, very similar to ours, but don't have anything or anyone to observe it. I mean, nothing that can even have an illusion of observing it. Because what do you think of this universe? I mean, the only thing that changes in ours is this illusion of being present. The universe isn't there for people to live. The universe is the universe and the way it evolved to be. I mean, do we even need this special tag for ourselves? Accepting that we are just as much the universe as everything else with just a little bit more complexity is fine. We can exist and live and evolve while accepting that there is no purpose. that everything is a giant illusion playing inside our head, and embrace the stuff coming out of it. This is actually existential stuff. If none of this matters, is there a reason to exist? I mean, there is no reason. Asking for a reason again assumes specialness. But from a human context, yes, there is a reason. And that is the feeling that we can feel, even though it might very well be an illusion. I like the feeling of living and existing. This is why, in a human context, it is still relevant to exist, not stop everything because there is no greater purpose. Acceptance is the key. Should we worry about climate change and try to stop it? Yes, because of the feeling that we have about the present, not because it is fundamentally better in any particular way. Even in an earthly context, even almost all major mass extinctions were eventually superseded by life fresh and new. The reason we would try and stop climate change and let things be the way they are is because we like it this way. A selfish reason, but a good enough one. We give our lives meaning, human meaning, by attaching ourselves to stuff. I mean, I care a lot about understanding how the universe works. Is that in any way deeper than other things people might be interested in? Maybe. But more importantly, there is a bigger question, bigger than the meaning of us, and that is, why does anything exist at all? I mean, imagine a universe, try to imagine a universe, without any space and time. But if only by any chance you were imagining empty space, no, try no space, no time. I know it's not something that can be imagined, but the idea that nothing could have probably existed, if only that makes sense. And yet, all around us, we see all these things. No purpose, no choice, but existence. Thanks for watching.